بسم الله والصلاة على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. So inshallah, tonight in the next few minutes we will talk about something kind of related to yesterday's topic, Zakat Al-Fitr, but we will switch to Zakat Al-Maal. Since Zakat Al-Maal is being paid by many Muslims during the month of Ramadan, because it's a good deed, even though it's mandatory, it's one of the pillars of Islam, it's fard for every person who has the threshold, but at the end it's a good deed like the fard prayer. So if it's done during Ramadan, many Muslims, they will get the reward multiplied, and that's why they save it until the month of Ramadan, even though it's not necessarily done during the month of Ramadan. It could be done any month during the year. In fact, most of the companions, they used to pay their Zakat Al-Maal during the month of Sha'ban. So people will, the fuqara, the needy people, will have more money during the month of Ramadan as a preparation for the month of the Quran. So 3 questions, inshallah, I will address that are being questioned very commonly by Muslims. Number 1, what is the nisab? What is the threshold for me to know that I have to pay Zakat Al-Maal or no? And Al-Nisab is if you own money-wise what's equal at least for 85 grams of gold or 595 grams of silver worth of that money. So to translate this to money, to numbers that we all understand, to the currency that we have, that we deal with in dollars, if you have what equals to the 85 grams of gold, about $5,300, $5,300, you owned it for a year, then you have had the hawl passed, 1 year passed for the threshold, then you have to pay the zakah. This if you go with the nisab, the threshold of gold. Now, when it goes to the nisab of silver, it's very different. The silver gram is much cheaper than the gold. So the 595 grams of silver equals to roughly about $500. Meaning, if you own $500, you owned it for the for a year, and a year already passed, then you need to pay it as zakat. Now the question that's being asked, well, do we go with this nisab or this nisab? It's because a big difference between $500 versus $5,300, right? It's about more than 10 times difference. The ulama, the majority of the ulama, they say you go with the lower nisab, meaning the fidda, the silver nisab, because the sunnah is way widely reported that either this or that. So to be on the safer side, you go with the lower threshold, meaning the silver threshold, meaning if you own about $500, according to the current price, of course I'm talking, things may change. But according to the current prices of the gold and silver, if you have owned $500 for more than a year, then you need to pay its zakah. Now, why there is big difference? Originally, at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, the silver and gold were very close in terms of their worth, in terms of how much they worth at that time. That's why there was no big difference if you go with the nisab of silver or gold, and both were currency. But subhanallah, over time, the silver has lost its value significantly and continues to. So that's why there are now almost 10 times difference. The ulama, they say you go with the safer approach, with the lower threshold, Because it is zakah, it is a pillar of Islam. That's number one, and you don't want to miss it. Number two, it is going to help the needy people of the Muslims. Number three, it's not a lot of money. Yes, some person may say, well, if I own only $500, that's my saving for the whole year. I don't have much money. True, but on the other side, how much is the zakat? We all know it's 2.5%. So 2.5% of $500 is exactly $12.5. $12.50. The zakat that the person needs to pay for that $500, and only once a year. Only once a year. So it is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not asking us much. And that's why it's better, wallahu a'lam, to go with that threshold. Now there are some ulama, they say no, you go only since the silver value has got almost lost, or it became so much less, so they go with only the threshold of the gold, which is about, as I said, $5,300. But wallahi, my humble advice, it's only once a year, it's only 2.5%. Go with the lower threshold, and you feel that you are doing this, you are not neglecting a pillar of Islam, that is the zakah. Now question number two, to whom it's paid? It is Masarif with zakah. It's clearly stated in the ayah in Surah Tawbah, Surah Bara'ah, but mostly to the fuqara, the poor people and needy people of the Muslims. Of the Muslims, that's very important. So some people, they say, well, I'm gonna give it to the needy people. Maybe here, since we live in the Western countries, well, I'll give it to the people who are needy, but they are not Muslims. And this way I capture their hearts. This is mu'allaf ta'lif al-qulub. I'll try to attract them to Islam. That is wrong. The zakah, it needs to be given to the Muslims, the needy Muslims. Ta'lif al-qulub, yes, it's one of the masarif al-zakah. However, it's not given by me and you, regular Muslims. It's given by the leaders of Muslims, like what the Prophet ﷺ did once after Ghazwat Hunayn. He gave a lot of wealth to the leaders of some tribes, and that led to those tribes to accept Islam. So the leaders of Muslims can give money of the zakah to the disbelievers, to the non-Muslims, but you and me at personal level, we do not. Rather, the priority is for the needy among the Muslims. The only exceptions that ulama made, and that's very theoretical, if we ended up with a time that there are no needy among the Muslims, then you can give your zakah to the non-Muslims. And this is hypothetical, it may be impossible ever to happen. Now the third very common question, and I will close inshallah with this: can I pay my Zakat Al-Maal with materialistic stuff? So I give it as food, I give it as cell phone, I give it as a laptop, I give it as clothes. And the answer, absolutely no. Your zakah will not be accepted if you do it as such. Zakat Al-Maal, the right is the right of the needy people on the richer or the more fortunate people. And their right is to get it money. Their right is to get it money. It's called Zakat Al-Maal, then it has to be given as mal, as currency. Sadaqah, it's absolutely up to you. Sadaqah at the end is a gift. It's not the needy right. This is something you want to volunteer, you want to give a gift, a sadaqah for a person. And the sadaqah could be given to Muslim and non-Muslim. And it's up to you to gift the way that you want. You want to gift it as money, you want to give sadaqah as clothes, as food, as a device, electronic device. It's up to you. But when it comes to Zakat Al-Maal, it needs to be given as money and only money. And it's up to the family, up to that person to use it the way they want. They want the way that they feel it's more needed. Don't say, Wallahi, I think it is more needed for that family if I pay their rent. Then I force them, I'm gonna pay their rent using my zakah. No, you cannot force it. They may probably feel that there are other needs that you don't know they need to fulfill more than paying the rent now that the landlord can wait, or the electric bill that can wait, or internet bill that can wait. If the family, the needy family, give you the permission, tells you, I have those needs, please, you can, if you pay for my rent, or you pay my electric bill or internet bill or phone bill, any of those, I am fine with that, then he gave you the permission or she gave you the permission, but you cannot force them. Now, there is only exception for this rule if the person who is going to receive the zakah is insane. Literally insane, like person who really is not mature, not mature, like insane meaning that he does not make sense. So that person, if you give him the money or you give her the money, she's not going to know how to use it. So that person probably, the ulama said, you could buy with the zakah the thing that it will be beneficial for them. Or if a person not insane by the way he or she is created or mentally challenged, but they are going to abuse the money. A person who uses alcohol too much, who is alcoholic, who is drug abuser, and you know almost for certain if you give him the money, he's not going to spend it on his family, on his dependents. He's going to buy drugs and alcohol with it. So with that exception, then you may try to actually give the zakat to that family in non-money form, and as a food or as clothes or as books or whatever the family needs. But those are exceptions. In general, it needs to be given as money only. هذا والله أعلم. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم.